For me, one of the biggest things about the show is kind of setting up every episode where before we go in and they have kind of a recap of the episode before and what the audience is about to see. So I'm very curious how it came to be as you being narrator in the show. Like, do you remember first being approached about it?
I was just sort of told I was going to be the narrator. I don't really remember it being a conversation.
Okay.
And I don't think I understood what that meant.
Right.
Like, they were like, we need you to come in and do some recordings, which was sort of odd because when we went to San Francisco, I was basically commuting back to LA every weekend.
Oh, to do the recordings.
Because remember, they edited them weekly. So I was in San Francisco Monday through Thursday, and then I would fly home.
Wow.
Which was fine because I had a boyfriend in San Diego. So
This works out well.
Yeah. But yeah, so like that's one of the reasons I didn't last in San Francisco is I was never there.
Interesting.
Like 4 days out of the week.
Okay. Yeah. And were you obviously really excited to be the narrator? Because then the show was from your perspective, in a way.
I think,
quote unquote.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember being excited. I remember feeling weird because you did it season 2, right?
Yep.
It's a little odd, right?
Yeah.
Like they write you a script
Yes.
and you're like, okay, guess this is what I read.
Right. Did you ever push back?
I don't think I understood I was allowed to.
Yep. We've said that all season.
I think there was probably a few things where I would say, I don't think this is right or I feel uncomfortable, but I think because you're so young and you were like, well, this is what I signed up for. This is your job. No, I mean, when I got into the hills, I pushed back all the time.
Yeah.
But I just don't think I realized it was an option.
I hear you on that.
It was a big dance. For me, I remember... Yeah, I feel like you wanted to say no. Sometimes with some of those wild lines, I had it on a much smaller scale, but I remember one time sitting in my car, they've got a page of wild lines that we're doing, and we're just going through it. I remember it was getting hot in my car, and I was kind of sweating. I was like, all right, let's just go through these. And it's interesting because some of those ones that are just a little throwaway, like could be 3 words, is going to be put in a very pivotal spot. But for you, I feel for you because I'm listening to the recaps, I'm like, oh, this is I don't remember this from watching it back in the day. But seeing it now, I'm like, this is a very key part of the show. Set up, okay, remember, this is what happened in the last episode and in the episodes before, and this is what's going to happen in this episode. So I was like, man, I wonder what that was like for you. And I totally understand that it's definitely a position where like, I'm not sure what I can really push back on. Like, I've agreed to do the show, and this is what they want me to do. Yeah,
and I think you guys will remember, like, they were very persuasive.
Yeah, very.
Right? Like, they were like, well, this was how it went. And, like, I think when you're surrounded by adults and you're 18, I don't think I ever felt like taken advantage of, but I was definitely like surrounded by a bunch of producers, a bunch of adults kind of saying like, well, this is how it went. And this is, this is how viewers feel. And like,
they're very savvy with it.
Yeah.
It's their job.
Yeah,
I mean, it's their
much.
job to
and
create
you know
this
what? And
TV
they
show.
did a good job. Like they were writing a show, and like I think we did need that push in order to make it more interesting.
Yeah, it's not ill will, and everyone has the same response from the show. It's we would go back and do it all over again. It's just so funny how naive you are at that age, and then of course in hindsight now we're like, all right, I probably would have handled it a little different, but I'm also a lot older, so it's easier to say that.
Yeah, I think also, so I'm sure if Steven told you, so when you guys released your episode, I had COVID, so I was isolating by myself, and I was like, oh, something to do.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and I was also alone, so I was like, okay, I'm going to, for the first time, watch a couple episodes.
Oh, wow.
I haven't done it since they came out.
Yeah.
And I told you this.
Yeah.
I actually haven't watched full episodes ever. I used to skip over other people's parts.
Oh, even back in the day.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I used to just watch my own. I'm not sure why.
I was just going to say, why did you do that?
I don't know.
Maybe that was smart, though.
I was almost like, it's, it's very weird to watch yourself. It was almost like I was just seeing what everyone else was going to see, and then that was it.
Interesting.
I'm not sure why I did this, but so this was my first time watching full episodes.
Wow.
Which was odd. And one of the things I noticed is, like, it was, I think I had like built it up over the years in my head, and then watching it was like so much worse than I had imagined it would be.
Oh, really?
It was really cringy. And I noticed, like, I don't say a lot in this show. So the most you hear me speak, I think, really is in that intro. So it's funny that, like, most of my words are actually written for me.
That is a really interesting perspective. See, this is why it's so fun having you on.
It's just really little bits and like weird faces for me.
Yeah.
I know, especially because sometimes it's like, I mean, for me, watching it as well, a similar reaction, incredibly cringy, and I'm just like, I'm kind of mumbling through some stuff, but then I also don't say a whole lot. It's kind of like some little pieces,
I was
some
saying
wild
enough
lines
for all
that are
three
there.
of us, you guys.
Like,
At least you were saying something, right?
I guess. I don't know. I could go back and remove a few things that I
No.
said. So here's my question for you, because my take on it is you and I never really had any beef. Really. I mean, obviously there was like a little truth to what happened with the three of us, but I felt like MTV Coming kept it alive and made it way worse than it ever would have been. Is that also your take? And you can be brutally honest.
Yeah, I think it was done.
Right?
When they started filming,
Yeah.
like, this is what I remember. I remember everything happened, and then it was like, was it formal?
Yes.
It was like the
Yes.
week before they started filming. We got into it and then made up.
Okay, yes. And then that was it.
And
but
it was
then MTV
fine.
came, and of course
And they
then-
came and they sort of like, I mean, I don't think we were like best friends,
Right.
but we were like, it's fine.
We never had an issue with each other.
I mean, we had an issue with each other, but it had been squashed.
But we
Yeah,
squashed
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
There was a little bit of an issue.
So I think that, I think that what happened is they kind of saw this as like a starting point, and then they ran with it, which I
Right.
get. Like, it
Yeah.
made for an interesting show.
Yep.
In talking with the producers, that was for them. It was like when we heard, and this is, we should actually ask you about this. When we kind of heard the stories, that's when we knew that we had something. It's like, oh, there's a little, like, something really kind of big just happened between these three
Right,
people,
right.
and let's see what we can do with that. And so my question would be, from that, do you remember when you first were talking to MTV, sitting and doing that interview after filling out the packet, because you filled out the packet, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you first remember getting involved in the show from the jump.
So I can't remember if I had already filled out the packet, but the first time I met Adam DeVello, the creator producer, I was with Lo, and we were out in front of the office, and we were ditching class, and I'll never forget, we were wearing like matching outfits, and it was that awful outfit of juicy zip up denim skirt.
Yep. Ugg boots.
Ugg boots.
Ugg boots, and we were wearing matching outfits, and we were going to leave, and we set off her car alarm, and we were right in front of the office, and we were like yelling at each other, like trying to get in the car. And I remember he was walking by, and he stopped, and he was like, "Have you two signed up for this show?" And he took down our names, and that was the first time I met Adam.
So
How
funny.
funny.
So embarrassing, but he was just like,
He's like,
these
these
dummies.
two typical high school
Yeah.
girls. We
I
need
thought
them.
I was all sneaky because I went in between classes and went to excuse myself to go to the bathroom in between break and lunch and talk to the producers then. I was like, all right, well, not
You don't
everyone
wanna
else
wait
was
till
You don't
around.
want everyone to
Yeah.
know.
Like,
Smart.
Oh,
I'm
see, I was
interested.
like, please pick me, please.
Yeah.
She found out when they were on campus that she was out of town. And you were like, fuck, I gotta get back.
Pretended like I was sick, so I missed the first day. So I was behind everybody, and then I ended up going to Boulder that weekend to go look at the school. Still hadn't gotten a phone call. Devastated. That Sunday at the airport coming home, they called me, and they were like, can you come straight to the airport? I was like, yes, I will be there.